I'm that girl who loves supporting parents with profound light workers as their children. And sometimes it takes an extraordinary amount of special unicorn being to be of service, to be able to support our profound light workers who are here choosing incredible lives. And so, my friend, I love you so much. And I thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, with your incredible children. And I just want to hug you, reach out, squeeze you, and just let you know that I just always think that I'm so proud of you for your choices that you're making. And you're an inspiration in so many ways. You are inspiration to me.
Thank you.
So, when did you start feeling that your children were special, gifted children who were here for a big purpose and reason?
Um, so my eldest Joe is 16, nearly 17 in June. So um, he, I was like so happy when I was pregnant with Joe. I was just in absolute bliss. It was, um, I just remember just like they talk about, you talk about glowing women who are pregnant. I was one of those who was glowing constantly. I must have been annoying to people because I was so happy. And I think now looking back, it was just because his energy is just so beautiful and light and amazing, big, yeah. So um, it was probably, mum's group with Joe. He was a little bit different to the other little bubbers, and although we were very connected and he didn't cry a lot or anything, he was just always happy as a baby. He didn't talk a lot, so he wasn't reaching those communication milestones that the other little bubbers were, and but he was like walking and crawling and all that on time, and milestones were being met. But then the maternal health nurse sort of flagged that about his speech was delayed and all that kind of stuff. So then the testing started happening. And I remember just wanting to take him to a remote island away from everybody else and just let him be himself. And because he was so happy and I was happy, and I really didn't like the judgment. And yeah, I really didn't like it at all. So that's when it started. Eventually, with other people wanting to help, people started, we call it the A bomb. They dropped the A bomb, the autism bomb on us, and said it's autism. And he was 3 when he was diagnosed with autism. Didn't really resonate with me because when I, did the research on it, I couldn't see um, the similarities, only the communication, but then I was feeling like I knew what he wanted and we had enough communication, and he was very, very independent. He would just go and do what he wanted to do and get what he wanted and that kind of thing. So he went to mainstream school in kindy, and he would usually find a little posse of girls that would just look after him. The kids just loved him, and the teachers and that would just adored him and his sweetness. And like as a little kid, if someone fell over in the playground, he would go and kiss them on the forehead and say, "Oh, better." And he just had a few little phrases that he would use, and it was enough. Um, yeah. So um, yeah, there was never been any meltdowns or dramas with Joe. It's always been just he's just following his bliss constantly, loving life, great sense of humor, just funny, and um, he's just been an absolute joy up until COVID happened, and then 2020 progressively he started to show signs of anxiety and not coping as well. So he started like pulling at his hair a lot, and like he made a bald patch on his head and things like that. But it was okay. But then 2021 is when we noticed that he wasn't coping like he normally would, and he just started just some new stuff that he's never done before, of just showing that he's just not coping. And so with autism, they call it verbal stimming, where you just like you would probably know about, people would know about people flapping their arms stimming, or walking on their tippy toes, or verbal stimming is where you just repeat the same phrase over and over and over. So he started doing that, and you can't stop that. With someone stimming, it's not a good thing to try and stop them from stimming. But then if you're, out in public or somewhere where it's not really appropriate, it's really quite difficult. And he's really, really loud. Like, he's, a big boy, 16 now, and when he wants to do it, it's quite loud and disruptive for everybody. So that was starting to impact in the classroom, at school, and his speech therapists and occupational therapists and people like that were starting to freak out, basically, about the difference in Joe, the different presentation of Joe, and just people that were working with him. And so I was freaking out as well, trying to work out what was going on. Everyone goes into fix-it mode, and that was just making Joe worse. I can't remember when I stumbled on your YouTube channel, Conversations with Heaven on Earth, but I believe I was guided there because I got so much strength from listening to the videos. Yeah, so it just helped me find the higher perspective of what I knew there was more going on, and it just made sense to me. And I never reach out to anyone on YouTube or anything like that, but I felt I needed to send you an email and let you know that you were helping me. And I just told you a little bit about, I think I sent you a photo of me and Joe, and I said that it's really helping me because Joe's just changed so much. And then you wrote back to me and said that you had a little bit of insight into Joe, and did I want to have a chat? And then we connected, and we had a Zoom. It all happened very quickly, and thank goodness I pressed record, because you ended up channeling from Joe. And now that it's getting harder, I was thinking about it this morning. I'm just so grateful that he got that message to me, that he's here to help, and it's bigger than I could ever imagine. So yeah.
Yeah, it was instantly when I was reading your messages, I was feeling a lot of attention into your energy, and I was like, this is kind of unusual. And so I had that little space where I was like, actually, I think I've got something quite important to tell this mother, but then how do you write that back out? So I was just in between. I had just finished a session, and I just had the small window of time before I could jump in to be able to do my second session for the day. And I just thought, I've got something little to tell you, and it just feels like I can't even express it. And so that's when it was like just divine timing, right? Let's just jump onto a quick Zoom. And I honestly thought I was just going to be able to say what I kind of was sensing, which was like, it's all going to be okay. It's all really well. And I don't quite know even what was driving me. But as soon as I saw you, I could just feel your son's energy fully taking over, and he just blurted out everything he's been needing to tell you for all that time. And it was so overwhelming for me. I just really pushed myself quickly out of that channel, because I just realized my body is needing to be used for this. And it was so emotional. But it was such a beautiful thing. And the thing that I was most sort of frustrated with was my lack of time, because I would have loved to have continued on talking to you, because we'd both had this pretty full on experience. I know you've sent it back to me, that channeling. I still haven't listened to it, but I just know that was your son needing to verbalize, because you and him don't freaking need words, man. You guys are so connected. You're so in unison. And when you needed to be back in unison with him, to really honor him, to be of service for him through his huge light working duties he's doing here now, that is almost when he needed your full attention, to be able to really connect in, because you're such a great team. You're just such a great team. And there was all this parent guilt that, you'd wanted to hold on to, and all this other stuff that he was just like, cut that out. Stop it. You're fucking fantastic, mom, and I love you. But he didn't swear. That would have definitely been my words. So yeah, it was so beautiful. And it was so intensive that I kind of just thought, oh gosh, that's quite a lot to give someone, but bye, got to go for another session. And I think whenever we did catch up again, there was something else that he was coming back and just in massive tears, to the point where you're like, is this even helping him? Because he's so distraught when he comes back. And that's when you messaged me again, and we had that other little chat. And what it is that he was, because as you just explained, he's got a heart of gold, and he is so compassionate to so many. So when he wanted to go to school, to see his friends, to be able to be of service for their energy fields, he literally came home just to cry and say, these kids, these beings, these souls are struggling so much. And he just would come home to his safety net, you and his support team, and the energy field you guys have created in your home. You maybe want to talk about your home, my friend. Because it may actually help others, because I know so many people want to shift, like badly want to shift from their houses for whatever reasons. They want that fantastic property with a farm and gumboots and living the dream, and they can't for the life of them understand why they're not being allowed to do that. So it's just, your journey is incredible. I just love you and your family so much. And I just know that when you start labeling things like autism, I hope that everyone saw how much I rolled my eyes. These are big beings' choices to be the way that they are, in perfect harmony and balance to their life contracts and souls, because they don't want to play in the 3D nonsense. No, thank you very much. I'm here to be of service. And the way that he is of service is so advanced, so profound, that we, with our stupid little Mr. Egos and our 3D mindsets, think there's something wrong with him. He's not. I'm going to say it because people are going to be judging him when he's expressing, when he's working with his energy. Oh, that's not normal. Well, we all should wish that we could have that frequency, and we all should wish that we have that deeper connection that he does with everyone. So, we have to start trusting and seeing that whatever is beyond normal is a true blessing for humanity.
Yeah. So at the moment, like last night, he didn't sleep. And so that's quite distressing, seeing him not even be able to switch off and go to sleep. He's doing these actions with his hands all the time, constantly, really fast and precise hand movements. Um, and when you channeled him, he was saying that he needed to disconnect himself because he was here to be more, and he was just going to be stepping up and doing more. And in 3D, him disconnecting himself is not even being able to walk forwards without spinning and walking backwards, and all these strange things that he's never done. Not even being able to feed himself sometimes and go to the toilet like he normally would. And so that's what it looks like in the 3D. So I'm so grateful that I got that message, because I don't know where I would be if I didn't have that message. It's really hard to see him, doing, not being able to do the things that he normally could do, no problem at all. And So people are saying things like he's regressed and all this kind of stuff, and it's hard to um, share with them the bigger picture when they're not there. And so yeah, again, I'm just wanting to take him somewhere remote away from everybody else to protect him, and just to let him be. My husband's reaction to Joe's message, because thank God I recorded it and I could share it with him, and his reaction was, "Oh, okay, we need to sell, and we need to get onto land. We need to be in nature." And so he's been on a mission ever since, and it's like we're invisible. We put a house up for sale, but it's like we're invisible here. And things, really random things, happen to the people who say that they're interested in the house. So it's like I keep saying to Mike, there's more going on. There's so many layers to this, and yeah, obviously we're needed right here at the moment. And if that changes, we'll be allowed to shift, to move. But
Yeah, it's so funny because it's kind of like you want him to be sort of protected from all this energy, and and that is what every parent would want. But then it's like, oh, that's right, he's actually here to be anchored in, because he's done so much code energy work and ley lines and all this really amazing stuff, because you're so connected deeply as a whole family. You're like a powerhouse family for your communities, and until your communities no longer need you, you're kind of like grounded there, which kind of is like, oh, my free will, thank you very much, we want to move. And they are like, this is so significant, pardon us for needing you in this anchor point. And what he's going through right now is more, that we've extended out the timeline, that we're here and exploring this to give everyone these opportunities to grow and overcome and all this, fantastic stuff for them. But it must be so hard to see your son, because it looks like he is suffering because it's so all consuming. And so, we've kind of got the luxury of, like, taking a bath or having face masks or doing, really goofy sort of stuff. But when he's constantly tapped in, and then now he is more tapped in, they're needing much more from him to be able to hold that frequency energy, because he's not distracted with all the dramas that we seem to love and focus on, and the more he goes within and focuses, the more he will not be able to give the attention to those 3D things of the physical body, because he's so in. Yeah, it's incredible. I can't even articulate it. But it breaks my heart for those parents who think something less of their children who have got these profound gifts and own the labels, buy into the medication. Because when you medicate someone who is supposed to be here to be a lighthouse, you're severing their connections in some way or form. And then that looks really angry. It looks really challenging, because those children are trying to resist, because they know intuitively that is a no. That is not a thing that helps me. But because they're so, they're not noticed by their parents, or their parents dismiss them, or the parents just feel so overwhelmed, they can't understand the life contract of their child. And it gets really heartbreaking, because we've said so many times in sessions, we've asked about so many children, certain children, regardless of whether it's, we all feel sorry for them. And yet we don't know that this is actually fully their choices, fully their life mission, fully their contract. And whatever we can do to support them and empower them, it shouldn't be wasted on energy of sorrow or, but we always seem to have lazy assumptions of what's going on there. And a disability is truly a lesson for everyone. And, just I was talking to a man the other day with one leg missing, and I could fully see what he was showing everyone, about that. So, love having the metaphysical perspective of it, because there's so much bigger perspectives to see these keys and stuff. But for you, I know that you're so sensitive to supporting him and nurturing him. When there is these new changes, you do almost flip into that typical beautiful parent worry concern of, oh, he's going to starve to death or whatever, whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, last week he wasn't eating, so it was like, oh no.
yeah, because sometimes the frequency of food disrupts the energy fields that we need to hold on to, and so you are so responsible for him. You're so diligent to him and all his needs, that sometimes we think we know what they need, and trusting him always and honoring him. I mean, we always think, oh, you must sleep 8 hours a day and you must have 3 square meals and la 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 la. And that is our indoctrination of how we must live in the 3D. And while he physically is living in the 3D, he will know intuitively what is right for him. And so wasn't he teaching you just the other day to let shit go?
Yeah.
We all learned that. It was fantastic, and so um I just I I just want to just love everyone who is still not able to see the bigger perspective of certain people's life choices and life contracts, because there's profound beauty in everything.
Absolutely. Like seeing Joe now, and the behaviors, I know that if we went to the pediatrician, I know what they would be wanting to prescribe. And I know I've had lots of people suggest all that to me. And so I've really been able to empathize with those other parents whose experiences have been like that from the get go, because I honestly haven't had that until now, where um, it's, gets overwhelming and too hard, and that, I'm looking at, not that I have been looking because I know, but I understand why people get to that point. And because there's so much outside pressure, and you know, it's so hard to continue with your belief system when you're tired and you're overwhelmed. And so I'm, yeah, very heartbroken for a lot of parents who have been experiencing similar things and not getting that metaphysical perspective of more and
Mm.
what's happening. Um, yeah.
Well, we know that, those who don't want us to shift into a high frequency vibration and for us to be able to really drop our density, we know that they target many. And so they know that there will be some profound light workers coming in here to really shake up this party. And so we know that the easiest way to target them is to disempower the parents, label the
Mm.
parents, shame the parents, judge the parents, and then use the labels of professionals and we're specialists and we know best and trust us. When have we ever led you wrong? Kind of thing. And it just to be able to live in the life you're living and to be able to service to the people that are in your life and then almost go against the narrative, it's scary because you're having to dig deep into your intuition to know, I know my son, I know my children. And as you just said, and isn't this interesting, the whole spectrum of autism is so unique and individual, just like everyone is unique and individual. And when you can start tracking when autism started occurring, I know lots of people want to put labels on it, and I know a lot of people were needing to experience a reaction to some medicines for their child to be what would be considered different, for them to just wake up to the medical industry. So, I don't quite know all of your personal details of experiencing him, if you saw that there was something in correlation to his experiences or whether he was always this way, and it's really none of my business. But it's when we ask in sessions, often it is about awakening up the families to agendas. And, it's all everything is purposeful, even though I almost want to say, even though if you weren't the parents that wanted to if you were the parents that, so if you weren't the parents who wanted to vaccinate, so they weren't vaccinating if you weren't vaccinating your child, and your child still needed to have an experience of something, there may be another accident, or it may be something to be able to help get that child in the exact position for them to be of service. And yeah, it's a lot. And I know with Dolores, what was coming through in a lot of her clients is ADHD, that label, which is just, again, genius children coming in who are super advanced, can read people from a mile away and know their stuff, and they're not going to be coerced into being pushed around. And so it does look aggressive, it does look sassy, it does look like they are, bored out of their brains and holding people accountable, because that's literally what they're doing. So if you're a teacher and you don't want to deal with an ADHD child who is telling the truth to everyone in the room, you're going to be pressing on those parents to sedate that child, because the truth bombs do not resonate with people who are trying to play part of a darker agenda or a different agenda. And I've got so much I've had so many clients with that. And so now, as we foresee, lots of children are again putting themselves into situations for them to have those experiences to awaken the parents. And right now it looks like reactions to certain medications again, but a different form. It's going to be heart diseases or something else, or strokes or something else, that is going to be current topic experiences for the parents to notice. And so whatever that child needs to teach the parents, it will occur. And unfortunately, some parents do have life contracts with their children to see them exit. I mean, like that is next level, big emotional roller coaster. And, it is all agreed upon. We think that we would like to choose our life contracts now and change our life contracts now. And that is all cute and all when we're all in it. But even our Mr. Stupid conscious mind in 3D doesn't have the free will to change our life contracts. It is done at a higher level. It is done with our subconsciouses. It's done because they all, our bosses, our managers, whatever you want to, well, that's going to trigger heaps of people because they still think that they're the boss of the universe. Okay, sorry. So, work through it, breathe through that trigger. We're here for you. But in all sincerity, it does feel like, wait, I'm a victim here. How dare my subconscious know more than me that what I need to know? And that's the truth. That's what they do. That's their jobs. They're guiding you for the biggest experiences that your soul needs. And so, I have lots of opinions about that.
Yeah, so I was definitely what woke my husband and I up to the world. He definitely achieved that. Yeah, because we were going along with what was prescribed before, of what you had to do when you had little bubbers and all the rest of it, and we tried it, and then yeah, we questioned everything, and
You've
here
just
we
got
are.
such, I can understand why, your whole demeanor and your approach in the world comes from this deep love and compassion and acceptance. You do really, you see things at a higher advanced level, almost like you already know the nonsense and bullshit, but you're almost too polite to kind of say, oh, this is nonsense and that's bullshit. So you kind of already have had that good intuition, even though you've had natural doubt and all that sort of stuff. And so you really, when you were carrying Joe, you were truly in that glow, because he is so part of your soul family that it was like you were having that piece, that big piece of bliss, that big piece of unconditional love that was your full connection. It's like almost that whole feeling of when people say, oh, I'm at home. It's like he was so connected into you. He was so familiar, the energy of love, unconditional everything. and isn't it just so sad that when you're in your best moments, living your best lives, glowing and so excited for your future with your children, as even you said, I was probably annoying to people. Like, isn't that sad that you can't even be jazz handsy and just in your bliss and just feeling like you've got this profound purpose, this profound excitement happening to you, and it's just going to be a defining moment being a mother, and then people are like, who's that girl? She's so happy. I was sick. And like when you're happy, people want to tell you how they're miserable. Like, oh, I was vomiting for 12 months of my pregnancy, they'll create like he was 17 weeks overdue. They just want to bring you down, and they will say anything to get you to like plummet down, to feel sorry for them, and to not even be able to like acknowledge and share your joy.
Mm.
Anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I remember being around one particular woman who was trying desperately to fall pregnant, and because I was so over the moon about being pregnant and enjoying it so much, she was repulsed by me. I remember, yeah, it was like a friend of a friend, and whenever we caught up in this group setting, she just would just scour at me.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, I think I also experienced something like that, and it was, I was just going to say it was really awkward because, I mean, she did a miscarriage, and so did we, but then we got pregnant with twins, and it was like not only did we steal one of her children, we basically steal both of her children. And so she was, and like the worst thing is, like, I remember she like touched my belly, and then she looks at me and she's like, it's okay, I don't mind. But it was like, it was so ingenuous, like it was so passive aggressive, and yeah, there was just so much to it, which I've just suddenly remembered. And it was, I think my response was, it's okay if you're not happy for us, because there was just this like gritting of her teeth where she's like, I'm not triggered, I don't mind. Two children, two, like how freaking greedy are we,
yeah.
and it was, obviously it was, natural twins. We didn't like, designer baby them or fertility treat them or anything like that, but it just made me feel so sorry for her, because she was so focused on what she didn't have. She actually ignored her own children that she did have, which is
Oh,
like, I mean, yeah, isn't it ironic, the things we know we can't have, we desperately want forever, and we will, sabotage and sacrifice, not appreciating what we do actually have, and still seek something that is unattainable.
mm, yeah.
Yeah. I want to make a joke about like me and Brad Pitt. you know? I don't have a thing for Brad Pitt, and I don't even want to ask where his allegiance to a darker gender is. I am completely just. It's all good. Yeah, and so you have, so your house isn't selling. How
No.
frustrating is that? But it's purposeful, and then because it's a gorgeous home, fantastic location, and it's like you are invisible,
Mm.
because you have to be there because of the energy. And so it's going to be interesting when suddenly it sells, because they sort of said, isn't it, when you are no longer needed of service in that location, you will, it's basically like once everything's locked and loaded in, yeah, you can sell.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they, here I am, so nosy. I'm like, oh, I'm wondering if you guys are going to be spending some time on the old earth, and what are you going to be doing? Oh, I wonder if that's in the farm. Like, pardon me, it's none of my business. I've got to remember to not pry. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting.
We've had people who've come. We have had a few people who've come to the house to see it because Mike has sort of pulled people off the street, and things like that. And they've been when they're here, they're like, "Oh yeah, this is great. Wouldn't change a thing." All it's sounding very positive, and then they'll go away. and they just disappear. It's like something happens and they've been having dreams or whatever. things, things just change. So yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. And like it's so frustrating that I think every time you listen to the sessions where they're like, we give you what you need, not what you want, and you'll be like, mm-hmm. So yeah, it's very extraordinary for you not to sell your house for the length of time it's been on there, considering it's brand new and there is nothing wrong with it. And yeah, it's incredible. So while you're honoring that space and honoring that location, um, you're finding more people to connect in with that are more like-minded, because I feel like you opened yourself up to more community and then suddenly they were all there on your doorstep.
Yeah, so with our youngest who's just turning 11, he is like kicking 3D's ass in terms of his amazing abilities to just dominate at school and life. He's just sporty and smart and um, funny and just loving life. But he he's someone that I've talked to him about the narrative and the agenda and tried to um, coach him enough to like question things and but not scare him, obviously. So he wasn't enjoying school last year or the last few years with the remote learning, that kind of thing. And then when they introduced masks at school, he wasn't having a bar of it. So magically connected with someone online, found out about a community sort of getting together, and they call it like a pod, where the kids get together and do workshops. And he started that last week, and it's at a farm. You know, there's chickens and guinea pigs and rabbits and dogs and cats and birds and everything, and they're outside most of the time. This kid's his age. The parents taking turns of doing things with kids, and it's just community. It's just beautiful, and
I love it.
yeah, so that's been such a blessing, and we really needed it. And once I had given up on the uh, the education system for him and decided, yep, no, that's enough. We don't need to persist with that anymore, because I mean, he loved his school and he loved his friends at school and the whole thing. So it's it was a hard decision, but now that we've made it, I was like, why did we take so long? But anyway, it's good. We're here now. We've found it, and it's yeah, working a dream for him.
Isn't that profoundly amazing to know that when we think we're stuck with some situation and we just like accept it for so long, it truly isn't serving us at all by any stretch of the imagination. And then when we get the opportunity just to think and open up a free will and be like, is there anything better than this? Is there something that we should be doing? Is there another alternative? Bang, within what, few hours, basically, you kind of set that attention, and then you sort of notice that suddenly a friend wants to come around for a coffee, and it's like, oh, okay. And then boom, 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 boom. Thank you, universe, for this other opportunity. And now it kind of seems like, yeah, hindsight's fantastic and all, but there are amazing things. And I was just talking to another mother this morning about she has a really gifted child as well, at our girls' school, and he gets bored really easily, and it's almost like a crime for really gifted children to be bored, because then they just start, you know, getting distracting for themselves and others, and it's a really negative space to be in. And if they're not supported and nurtured, then they'll just sort of switch off learning, because they associate, as you know, what you're just saying with your son, you know, they're not attracted to learn. It's a chore, and it's not gives them joy. And like, I think with these really intuitive children, they are not jazz handsing for disinformation. They know it. They know the other agenda. So I know my friend, you're saying, oh, I told him some stuff, it didn't scare him. The thing is that when you actually communicated with your child and you intuitively know what he needed to hear, it made sudden sense to him why he was feeling this inside him. Because, we're trained to respect elders, respect professionals, respect teachers, blah, 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 blah. That is very clear. We are supposed to do all of that. And when it doesn't work with us, this is when we start doubting our intuition. This is when we start shutting off our intuition. This is when we just go with the mainstream, go with the flow, and constantly question, what's wrong with me? Why am I not getting what everyone else is just blindly going through? And so, yeah, the whole education system's a little bit sensitive for me right now. So anyway, I love empowering my children with education, and this is why I really appreciate the one classroom that they're in, where they've got all ages of the primary school system, working with the philosophies of Maria Montessori. That gives me joy. I see that they're actually still thriving and doing really well with their education, because it's not forced upon them. It's kind of bite sizes, and it's fantastic. But God, I mean, it's a never ending battle to be able to try and see the bigger perspective of everything. And I think when children learn on, when it's actually practical learning, those skill sets are just built in with them forever, and those foundational building steps, blah blah blah. I love this conversation, but I still get kind of triggered a little bit with
No, you're spot on. As soon as I started sharing with him more, the more I noticed he was disconnecting from that system and starting to question, when will I ever need to do this? Like what? Like why? What's the purpose of this? So, yeah, absolutely spot on.
if they were teaching our children self-empowerment, self-love, focusing on, truly the bigger empowering things yeah, it kind of irks me. I need to get over it. And we're given opportunities as children to really feel into our intuition, but it's the peer pressure and the numbers, and then the oh, whoops, we slipped out, giving everyone to see whose grades got what, and it becomes that really competitive, really unhealthy, unbalanced perception. It's just, it's just interesting. I accept all, because I truly do, but my heart goes out to those parents and to those children that are still trying to find why there is this irritation within them, that they have these senses of their intuition that's kind of like this silent alarm bell that's not able to be turned off, and it's just within you, and you feel it, and you're like, what is trying to get my attention? What am I supposed to focus on and function and notice? But we've got all these other little alarm bells going off internally from us, within us, from the little universes going, get your attention, get your attention. We kind of just, we all have these alarm bells going within us, that when we actually can get to them, unpack our inner work and see things from the bigger perspective, we get inner peace, because there's that inner silence. Then those alarm bells have stopped ringing. Our intuition has been acknowledged. It's interesting. Anything else you want to share with us, about your journey? Any empowering words, a message for humanity, maybe?
um, I I'm glad we talked today. I'm feeling a lot better. I was a bit of a mess this morning. I was honestly feeling really angry this morning at humanity, basically, for the load that's on my son. So I'm like, can people just do their inner work, please? And
Good call. Yeah,
yeah,
good call. Yeah, because
yeah,
you're physically seeing the strain of him, and it wouldn't take much for you to just imagine what the strain of Gaia would be, and what the strain of the collectives would be. You're physically seeing someone being completely taken offline and not able to even function at any capacity because he is working overtime. And while you can love him and be so proud of him, like I fully am as well, and I just honor him, we can't do his work for him either, which is just so frustrating because, you know, that's when we wish we could. But you've got this beautiful balance and you have this beautiful energy that you are serving him with. And you were doing such a good job. Honestly, I just love and adore you. And I'm so proud of you, like, seriously, because you get it. You can see it physically within yourself, within your home, within your son, when we're having these higher frequencies coming in, when there is big work that they're doing, they're not playing around. And I know some people get really fragile when they feel like they've been told off by the collective. So we're saying, do your inner work, love yourselves, drop your shit, come on, let's get going. You know, they feel like we're so close, and yet in some examples they feel like we're so far away. And so this isn't a game. This isn't a hobby. These are people who are spending and dedicating their entire lives to holding the space of this frequency of this planet, trying to help us, trying to help those who are asleep, you know. And while we want to be distracted, it's a little bit self-indulgent when we know this information and then we want to distract ourselves into the 3D. Yes, it's a choice. Yes, we have free will. But when are people really going to understand how much it is taking on this universe? How much is it taking from our guides, people like Joe, other, you know, light workers who are just getting drained from this? This is so unnecessary now. You know, we are needing to stop playing in the little paddling pool of 3D emotions and really pull up our socks.
Amen. Yep. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I can feel people being triggered. But the thing is that we all want to go to the new earth. When you have had contracts and when you have sessions and they say, you're absolutely going to the new earth, you're definitely a part of the new earth. Remember that. This is a focus. That's the destination. We've got to like overcome this journey and try and help and support as many people as possible and not play with the fear. Don't play with the other stuff. That is, you know, we're done that. We're past that now. And this is an important time for us to really step in, check our egos at the door, love each other, love ourselves, and see the bigger purpose of everything, trusting that all is well.
Yeah.
I feel the anger too sometimes, and I just feel like I wouldn't be a very motivational speaker. Swear too much. But I love sharing your real life. I love sharing your real journey. And I love you so much. And I just love that this work has been able to give you the higher perspective that you needed and gave you the courage and strength to know that you're fucking awesome, my friend, and your son is doing so good. And I feel all this love, and I feel like I just keep getting hotter and hotter and hotter, feeling their intense energy because they just want to wrap you in love, squeeze you, and just be like, we're here, we're here, we're here, we're here, we're here.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let's end this conversation now. And I hope that with sharing this will give people some encouragement, no pressure, but full pressure, to just realize that there is so much going on, and this needs to be someone's priority more than just a hobby and a side hustle. Maybe, I don't know what the words are now. I'm feeling deeply into it. I want to go because I want to talk to you privately. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.